I would like to welcome again of everyone. Thanks Vikram and thanks Samit to providing your time. Uh, and as we have today's agendas to discuss on VMware Cloud on AWS platform and the topic which we captured empowering employees while working from home scenario. So these are the three takeaways which we would like to discuss and we would discuss. How can you scale it with an elastic infrastructure to meet changing remote demands? How to secure application access with a zero trust access control model? And then, of course, how to empower remote workforce with a digital workspace experience. So before that, I just wanted to share what is SISL. SISL is a leading system integrator in India, which is in terms of business revenue and the customer acquisition. We are very aggressively working on that. And we are more than 6,300 customers globally and almost 4,500 projects we successfully deployed and delivered. We have across global more than 4,500 employees and 18 global presence we have. We have another arm which is on our Techjockey.com platform where we have e-commerce. Basically, it's an e-commerce platform which helps the startups and SMBs or the bigger OEMs also to publish their offerings, their product lines end to end, where we can approach to remote areas of the vendors and customer and the automation needs in the industry. So we cater that portfolio also. We have almost 1.7 lakh uh, monthly visitors who hit our website to check as per their solution or as per their needs. And we have onboarded more than 8,000 customers from partners, I would say, in our .com platform. And we have more than 1,300. Now it's increasing day by day as in product offering from all these OEMs, the brands basically. And we are, at a time, we are catering more than 5,000 customers. And today we have speaker of the webinar, Vikram Khanna. He is the specialist for VMware Cloud on AWS, and he's a veteran of in the industry with the more than 18 year of experience in the field of system engineering, network solution architect. He worked with Citrix, Avaya, Cisco, Mahindra, HCL, and others. We have another gentleman, Mr. Samit Kumar Deb, a senior solution architect at Amazon Web Services. He have more than 15 years of experience and he's a very strong handhold solution architect in his cloud domain. He covered each and every aspects from architecture side to configure, to perform scalability of the infrastructure side. He worked with HP, VMware, and a few others also. So I would request Vikram to take it further our today's agenda and today's discussion point. Vikram.
Hi, hi all. I hope my screen is visible to all. My name is Vikram and I'm from VMware and I handle the VMware Cloud on AWS. I'm a specialist with VMware on this product profile. Today I'm going to talk about what this offering is and followed by a small demo, a real life demo. This is not going to be a canned demo. Now, if you look at VMware Cloud on AWS, it's basically a jointly developed solution between the leading hyperscaler and the public cloud provider to deliver a true hybrid cloud offering where our customers can not just easily move the workloads in and out of AWS regions, but also use the native power of all the AWS 190 plus of them, I believe, services in conjunction with their existing infrastructure. Now, what does that mean? Let's take a look at that. So, if you talk about the service overview, VMware Cloud on AWS is basically hosted out of AWS region. It's bare metal servers on which we already run our vSphere, vSAN, and NSX features. And this is all supported, operated, sold by VMware, and it's all managed also by VMware. What that means is basically, we at VMware take care of all the patching, upgradation, management of any of the management components, including vSphere or vSAN Manager or NSX Manager. Now, if you look at your on-premise, infrastructure, which most of you are already running VMware. Now, the common thing is the infrastructure, the vCenter primarily, the one vCenter to another vCenter. What we have done with this offering primarily is basically, we've been able to seamlessly migrate the workloads from on-premise to on-cloud or on-cloud to on-premise. Having said that, we have multiple networking options which are available to our customers. So you as a customer are never bounded by networking options or limited by networking options primarily. And like I said earlier, you have native access to all the native AWS services that are there. Talk about anything from S3 to Lambda to EC2, whatever services AWS has to offer. Those services can directly and can be integrated with your workloads which are running on VMware Cloud on AWS. We have a global footprint. I'll be talking about that in upcoming slides. So if you talk about the capabilities of this solution, VMware. So what we are trying to offer you is a VMware software-defined data center on AWS. Now, having said that, if you're ever familiar about VMware, on-premise solutions, believe me, and I'll show this on the real life demo that I have planned. You will be able to migrate, or rather, you'll be able to. You are already 99% competent to handle this VMware Cloud on AWS because of the existing familiarity that we have on-premise and on-cloud. It's basically the same, infrastructure that we're using. So the ease that you are used to have with vCenter or vSphere or NSX or vSAN, all those capabilities have been extended to on-cloud. Having said that, it is not mandatory for you to have vSphere or NSX on-premise. All you require is any hypervisor solution, be it from VMware or from any other hyperscaler provider. We can migrate the workloads in and out of on your premise to on cloud and on cloud to on premise on demand. And while we are doing that, believe me, we can even keep the same IP address. We don't even have to change the IP address of the workload which we are trying to migrate from on premise to on cloud. And we can do that migration in production time as well, without taking a single downtime. And that is something which I'll show you in my demo. Access to, native access to all the 190 plus services comes by default. So you can access all of them on a dedicated links. I'll be talking about that in upcoming slides. Now, if you've been following VMware, VMware as an organization, it has done a lot of innovations. Now, one of the most recent innovation was our Tanzu portfolio, primarily running containers natively on vSphere. Now, today, what we used to do was, or rather, sometime back, what we used to do was we used to have a server. We used to run a hypervisor. Probably on that hypervisor, we used to run some virtual machine. And on that virtual machine, we used to run some sort of KDS or Kubernetes sort of solution. Now, that solution was good enough, but we've taken it one step ahead. Now those containers, without running those VMs, can directly integrate with the EXSI kernel itself. They can run on native EXSI kernel. Advantages of that is, of course, customers who have some sort of traditional architectures which are running on VMs can have a single namespace on which they can have VMs and pods or both communicating with each other seamlessly without any problem. Some of the use cases that we see a lot when we talk about the VMware Cloud on AWS or VMC, what we call, is of course a data center extension. You are because of this pandemic time, acquiring a new service takes some time, right? So what we've done is this service can be integrated with your existing data center, and it can be probably a one-arm extension of your existing data center. We have an excellent use case on on disaster recovery, both hot and cold DRs that you want to set up. Cloud migration, believe me, it has never been that easy. Be it for cloud native applications or non-cloud native applications. Some of those legacy applications, if you have, which are, let's say, Visual Basic sort of applications, for which you don't even have the source code. You can migrate those VMs, those workloads also to VMware Cloud on AWS. That's the beauty of this solution. And with our next generation applications like a Tanzu portfolio, believe me, moving containers also has become very, very easy. VMware Cloud on AWS offers you a true hybrid cloud sort of functionality. So if you have a container, for example, or VM or container, either of them running on-premise, I can export them to on cloud number 1, cloud number 2, cloud number 3, and then on-premise if I have to. I can do all of that, mix and match of my applications today. Now, what VMware Cloud on VMware Cloud on AWS has done primarily is, like I said earlier, it's a composite solution of vSphere, vSAN, and NSX. What we are trying to do is we are trying to offer you infrastructure or a platform as a service, so to say. Basically, we've taken the goods of on-premise data center, the flexibility that you used to have on on-premise data center, the flexibility that you used to have on a private cloud, flexibility that you used to have on public cloud, bring all these flexibilities together to deliver you as a service. So what we're offering you is VM on service, and I'll be talking about that in upcoming slides. If you look at any application which needs to be migrated from on-premise to on-cloud, there are certain migration steps or phases that an application has to go through. Some applications may require you to rehost certain components, probably, or re-platform. Let's say you are running on a very legacy old platform. You probably have to reshape the application or the platform to make it cloud ready. You might have to repurchase certain components. So, for example, let's say your organization had probably some application which they got it developed from some third party, and they don't have the source code for that. Now, to change and this is a legacy application, and now you want to plan to migrate this sort of application to cloud. That's not possible, right? Because you'll have to change at least certain things of that application. So any repurchasing of of the equipment, that is something that you've gotten away from. And of course, refactoring. You might have to refactor your applications. You'll have to redesign certain app or app code, or probably you'll have to do infrastructure level architecture change for making that application ready to move to cloud. What VMware has done is VMware has taken all of this pain away and given you practically a lift and shift sort of option, wherein I can move any application from on-prem to on-cloud or on-cloud to on-prem, in case you don't want on-cloud, or that application is not performing on-cloud. You want to migrate that back to on-premise, you can do that easily without any problem. The way we have done that is with our magic protocol, which I'll be talking about that in an upcoming slide. And please feel free to stop me or ask me any questions if you have any. Please unmute yourself and ask me. Now, in this slide, what I'm trying to depict is basically a cost-time analysis. For the application which any application that you're planning to move from on-premise to on-cloud. I've taken AWS in this example, native AWS, but you can choose any public cloud provider, any be Google's or Microsoft's of the world. You can choose any of them. There is a migration cost bubble. In this time, you pick up an application that you want to migrate, you make some changes to that application so that it becomes cloud ready or cloud native application, and then you migrate that application on cloud. And while you're doing that, you're running your existing infrastructure on premise. What if your infrastructure is going end of life? You'll have to buy a leasing agreement, or you'll have to renew your support license for that on-premise equipment, right? Now, VMware, what they have done is we've reduced this migration cost bubble to a matter of days, and what we have done is we've created a distraction risk for you. Now, so mitigating all these problems, and like I said, migration to cloud has never been so easy. Resultant of which is, of course, a great amount of infrastructure saving that you get. you don't even have to re-architect or re-IP, even re-IP or re-MAC some application. Let's say some of your applications are based on MAC addresses. Licenses are based on MAC addresses. You don't even have to change the MAC address. I can retain the same MAC address that is there on premise to on cloud. Imagine the capability or the flexibility that VMware Cloud on AWS is offering today. This is the magic protocol that we have, the hybrid cloud extension, or what we call HCX. This magic protocol can migrate any workload from on-premise to on-cloud, or cloud number 1 to cloud number 2, or on-premise without any problem. All we need from your side is, let's say if you have vSphere 5.0 onwards on-premise, which I'm sure most of you, because that product went EUL a long time back, that's all what we require. Practically, and I can start migrating your applications to on cloud without any problem. I can do hundreds and thousands of migrations using this protocol, and I can also write in scripts while doing the migration. Now, data during transit with this beautiful protocol HCX is always encrypted. So basically, we have taken care of your security as well. Now, NSX is not required. If you do not have NSX or vSAN, it doesn't matter. I can still migrate those applications to on cloud, and this is pre-bundled into the solution, this magic protocol. Along with this protocol, what we have done is, of course, while migrating, we use some sort of WAN, right? It could be MPLS sort of circuit, or it could be an internet sort of circuit. Now, we understand our customers actually pay a lot by consumption model on this WAN circuit. So what we've done is we've taken the source code from Silver Peak, which is I think if I'm not wrong, they are the Gartner leaders in WAN optimization. So we've taken the source code from Silver Peak for the WAN optimization, and we've installed this WAN optimization with our HCX protocol on-prem and on cloud. Thereby making sure that when we are doing the migration, actual migration, we are using that capability of WAN optimization, thus reducing your overall WAN usage by approximately 60 to 70%, because data traffic is always predictable. I'm sorry. On this, so there's a lot happening on this slide. So I'll take a minute here to explain this slide deck. I'd like to draw your attention to top left corner of the slide, where I've tried to draw your on-premise data center. Now, like I said earlier, you have multiple networking options. You have direct connect, you have internet. Now, I can use internet or direct connect to migrate your applications, or to or to give you a seamless sort of experience on VMware Cloud on AWS. Now, VMware Cloud on AWS inherently comes with NSX, like I said earlier, which basically means that by default you get a great, full-featured firewall, a full stateful firewall right here. If I'll try to draw, right here you get an excellent firewall, NSX firewall. Now, I can do encryption while the traffic is coming in, be from direct connect or IPsec. Or internet rather, using IPsec protocol. I can do encryption also. I can do, if you have multiple paths, multiple internet segments on-premise, I can do ECMP also, equal cost multipathing as well, thereby making sure that, that either of your circuits, both of your circuits rather, are used equally, to migrate or to do day-to-day operations. Now, what we've done is we have then dissected, this is what we call a T0 router. We've dissected this, the traffic which is coming in to the T0 router into a management component, which is T1 router, or the compute zone. Now, the management part is where you run, all the vSAN manager or NSX manager, and basically all the management components that you run here. What we have done is, because VMware manages this for you. VMware will upgrade, patch it. So you will have no problems whatsoever, while in the real life migration, or rather the real life operations of this VMware Cloud on AWS, because everything is managed by VMware on this. So what you get is basically this section of it, where you run your workloads, be it your DBs or your app workloads, and all of them are also protected by its own firewall. And the best part is it also comes with micro-segmented firewall. That means every VM is protected by its own firewall, a full stateful firewall for VM to VM communication, for east to west sort of communication. What you also get is a dedicated 25 gig circuit. Now this is an ENI, Elastic Network Interface, with which you can integrate with any of the native AWS services that you have, that you want to use, you want to access. If both the VMC and the native AWS services are in the same region, believe me when I say this, there is no cost for data ingress or egress. $0 cost. It's a $0 cost if they're in the same region. So you get that sort of flexibility as well. Any questions?
Vikram, Vipin this side. So will VMware Cloud on AWS be running on a nested EXI architecture?
No. It's basically a bare metal, dedicated bare metal servers which are given to our customers. So there's no shared space which is given to our customers. Dedicated. So for security reasons, our customers prefer any customer who's basically centric around security. Does a lot of the work on VMC. Excellent question, by the way. Now, what VMC basically includes, or rather VMware Cloud on AWS includes, is basically, if you look at, I try to compare it with on-premise to cloud. Now, on the on-premise, you have your real estate, you have facilities, power, networking, SAN, storage, servers, lifecycle management, and then you have your hyperscale, hypervisor, any hypervisor for that matter. What VMware Cloud on AWS has done is basically taken all the pain away from you by taking all of these components on native AWS, on native VMware Cloud on AWS, which is managed, sold, and operated by VMware itself. What you get is a space where you can run your VMs, you manage your operating system, you install your operating systems and your application, that's you're ready to go. On day one, you don't have to bother about networking, you don't have to bother about storage, lifecycle management, nothing. Everything is managed by VMware. Now, consider a scenario. I'm sure if existing as an existing VMware customers, you're aware of DRS, disaster recovery. So what we used to do on premise was we used to move the workload in case the server utilization was going beyond certain threshold limit. Maintaining the threshold limit, looking at the threshold limits of CPUs or memories or storage. We used to look at all of that, and we used to move the workload from one server to another server in a cluster, just to make sure that this VM does not starve because of any resource crunch. What we have done on VMware Cloud on AWS is taken this one step ahead. We continue monitoring your CPU, your storage, your memory, to certain threshold. And as and when any of your memory or your storage goes, beyond certain threshold, another host is automatically added into your cluster. Now, this whole is a very automated process. There's no manual intervention required. And when your CPU or your memory returns to normal threshold, we remove this added host from your cluster. At this time, you're only charged for that new host on on-demand basis, which is hourly basis. Making sure, what we've done is we make sure that none of your VMs will ever starve because of CPU, memory, or storage. Will always, your cluster will always be healthy no matter what, and balanced state. Now, imagine a scenario, because like I said, they're bare metal servers, right? And a server can go down at any given point of time. It's a hardware ultimately though, right? In case any of the server goes bad because of any reason whatsoever, what we do is we continue monitoring. We actually rigorously monitor your clusters, for their performance. And when the server goes down, we add another host to your cluster, move the VM from your bad host to the new host, and remove the bad host from your environment completely, thereby making sure that none of your operations, day-to-day operations, fail because of any reason. This is a very, very automated process. Again, no intervention required and no additional charges for our customer. No charges whatsoever. Now, VMware Cloud on AWS has a lot of global footprint. So you tell me where you want VMware Cloud on AWS, and I can bring up an entire SDDC stack for you in matter of 2 hours. That's all what it takes for me, honestly speaking. It takes me only 2 hours to spin up an SDDC anywhere across the globe for you. And less than 10 minutes to add another host. So let's say you want to start up with, let's say, 2 hosts in a cluster. And tomorrow you want to add another host. I can add another host for you in less than 10 minutes. That's all. That is all what it takes. In India, we launched this service in Q2 2019, last year rather, during the same time frame. And it's been a big hit. It's been a great hit, that we have on VMware Cloud on AWS. As a matter of fact, both VMware and AWS goes together to our customers and pitches the solution because it's like I said, it's a jointly developed solution, that we have. Now, a lot of questions come. What is in it for me? Why should I migrate to VMware Cloud on AWS? And this is, a sort of brief analysis that I created for those customers. So if you look at, platform management or entire lifecycle management on-premise, on your on-premise data centers, you do it by yourself primarily, right? Your tech teams actually do that. And while doing that, they spend a lot of time, man hours for the lifecycle management of the infrastructure. There are, of course, you patch up something. A lot of times this must have happened that there is a new patch which you installed, and because of this, the applications or the cluster went down or something like that happened. You will never have to face any such issue ever in your life with VMware Cloud on AWS, because everything is managed by VMware. VMware will patch it for you. VMware will upgrade the solutions for you, whatever. VMware will do everything. VMware will take the responsibility. What that means is basically, the application migration time, for your local on-prem or on-cloud, when it used to range from anything from 4 to 8 months, we've reduced it to less than a month. I can migrate your entire data centers on cloud, in matter of days, or rather a month, less than a month. I can migrate your entire data center to cloud. What that results is basically the reduction in great SLAs, day 1 and day 2 both. Like I said, I can spin up an SDDC for you in less than 2 hours, and I can add another host to your data center in 10 minutes. That's all what it takes for me, honestly, to add another host to your environment. Now, what you primarily get, another advantage is, the availability commitment. Now, on-premise, if I have to maintain an availability of 99%, believe me, you require redundancy on everywhere. From your servers, you'll have to have additional spare server at any time. You'll have to have redundant switches, network layer. You'll have to have redundant firewalls, redundant routers, everything redundant. With VMware Cloud on AWS, from day 1, I'm offering you 99.9% uptime across all VMs simultaneously without no exceptions. All VMs, no exceptions, no asterisks, no conditions applied. A consistent 99.9% at least. And I can always go ahead and extend it to 99.99% with our concept called stretch clusters for your most critical applications. We have done all the compliances and certifications, as you can see. And, the problem of keeping a new host on-premise, an empty host on-premise, in case of DRS or power failures, everything is included by default in our cost with our VMC solution. Some of the key differentiators that we talk about is, of course, operational consistency. You don't have to learn new platforms, and while learning those new platforms is always a good idea, but then you don't have to take up that projects of learning new environments and then doing the migration, because what happens is initially, if your tech teams are new to some platform, they are bound to make some mistakes. VMware, because it's a VMware environment, trust me, there are minimalistic or rather no chances of anybody making that human error, because of that same sort of feature functionality that you have on-premise or on cloud. We are the only providers which can offer bi-directional large-scale application migration without any re-platforming, re-architecting, reconverting, or rather re-IPing or remacking the application. Sorry, is there a question?
Just wanted to check, does VMC support any customization on the VM support, or is it bounded like AWS or Azure does?
Great. No, you're not. You can have whatever t-shirt size that you want. You want to have a VM running, let's say one vCPU, or let's say 3 vCPU with, let's say 2 GB of RAM or 3 GB of RAM. Do that.
Okay.
So there's no fixed t-shirt size.
Okay, so we can customize it as per our size of the need.
Exactly.
Possible. Right.
Choose whatever you want. That's the beauty of the solution. Great question.
At the time, how many cluster size we can cater?
Okay, so in a host, in a cluster, you can range from anything from 2 host, to let's say 16 host cluster. You can have up to 20 such clusters in one HDDC, and you can have 2 HDDCs per customer. But that's all very, a soft limit. I have customers who have got, hundreds of clusters spread across, 100 clusters. So you can, this is all a soft limit that we have put in, but you can have, the scalability is enormous. So great. VMC primarily comes with the zero trust security model, which means that, we don't trust anything. We have firewalls on every step of the way, as you have previously seen. So basically, you have those beautiful NSX full stateful firewalls that you can use for your east-west and north-south sort of traffic. Both are available on day one to you. And like I said, we reduce the migration cost and minimize the complexity and risk basically for managing, and thereby managing the entire infrastructure management is done by VMware Cloud on AWS. Now, some of the industry certifications, I'll again reiterate, we have practically all industry certifications and compliances. I'd like to draw your attention to that SOC 1 and 2. This is basically a type 2 certification that we have. I'm sorry. It's got a great VMware Cloud on AWS. It's got a flexible consumption model. It's available on demand and or hourly basis. We have a 1 year or 3 year reserve instance for you. You can always go ahead and buy and add on services. I'll talk about that in the slide, or rather in my demo. You can choose or opt VMware Cloud on AWS by your existing SVP or HVP credits. You can always raise a purchase order, towards a partner, and partner can raise the purchase order to VMware Cloud on AWS. Unfortunately, the credit card option is not available today in Mumbai region, but it's available practically everywhere else. And of course, if you have existing VMware customers, you get great discounting on VMware Cloud on AWS. We call this hybrid loyalty program. We can always look at all of those options. Time for a quick demo. Let me just stop sharing and let me bring up my lab here. Now, this lab of mine is actually hosted out of US, and I'm accessing that on our Horizon platform, which is our VDI platform that we have, desktop virtualization platform that we have. Another excellent use case of VMC. You can host, Horizon 7 on VMware Cloud or AWS as well, and we have scalability options, enormous scalability options that you might want to choose. Now, once you open that cloud, console.cloud.vmware.com, this is the basic page that you get in front of you that you see. We have our own marketplace where you can go ahead and buy a lot of equipment or a lot of third-party devices that you want and install them alongside VMware Cloud on AWS. You have a lot of VMware components as well. Let's say you want automation. We have virtualized network automation tools that you can extend from on-premise to on-cloud, on our VMC. Now, without any further ado, let me click on VMware Cloud on AWS and let me show you the whole console of it. Again, like I said, it's a canned demo. It's not a canned demo, I'm sorry. It's a real life demo, and this lab is actually hosted out of US. So please, and this is just a lab that we have. Let me open up my SDDC. We have multiple SDDC, so I'll open up my SDDC, the SDDC that's in question. I have 3 hosts in the SDDC. It shows you the the CPU, the memory, the storage, everything which is available. Clicking on networks and security, probably this is one of the most important tabs that you will be working on when you have VMC. Here, you can have your gateway firewalls for your east, north, south traffic. You have your distributed firewall for your east, west sort of traffic. So everything is available to you. You can always request a public IP. You can NAT those IPs. Requesting a public IP is just a couple of clicks, and that's it. You have your public IP with you. You can NAT them using our NATing options. You can do VPNs. You can add segments into your VMware Cloud on AWS, just like you do in on-premise environment. Let me open up my vCenter here. Just copy my credentials. Let me add. And please tell me, what is the difference between this vCenter and the vCenter that you see in front of on-premise? It's exactly the same. This is where you do most of your tasks, primarily, creating your VMs or deleting your VMs or installing the applications, or rather installing your operating systems or operating systems and their applications. This is where you do. So we have a similar sort of feature functionality. The only thing is with VMware Cloud on AWS, because it's a managed solution that we have, if you look at the version of vSphere, you'll always see it one step ahead of what is available to you on premise. That's how it is. And within an SDDC, you remember I had 3 host cluster, right? So cluster of 3 hosts that I had a compute zone, I had a management zone. This is where I keep all my management components primarily. I keep all of my management components right here on the management console. We give our customers read-only rights to this management console. Practically all the NSX features or storage features are done from the main console that you see here. The reason why we've done that is because we manage it, and we manage the entire solution for you. Now, let me open up my on-premise lab that I have. This is an on-premise data center lab that I have, vCenter. Okay. I've logged in through my local credentials. I have a local machine that I created for this purpose. Let me just log into this machine and show you the actual machine. This is nothing but a basic Linux-based machine that I created. I will show you the IP address. I'd like you to make a note of this IP address, during this demo. 192.168.70.160 subnet that we have. Let me just do a ping to a global DNS server. Yeah, it's pinging. In the meantime, let me go back to my lab here on premise. And I told you, right, the migration that we do is via a protocol called HCX, which is bundled into the solution. There is no additional charge for that. This is that excellent tool that we have. Let me open that. And as you can see, the pairing that we have done, the on cloud to on-premise pairing is from my on-premise lab is actually based out of Austin, Texas. And my VMware Cloud on AWS is actually hosted out of US East region in AWS region. Let me look at the network extensions. Now remember, I only have a 50 MB link between on-premise lab and the cloud. I don't have a very good, and this is just an internet link. This is basically a DSL link that we have. You remember I was talking about the HCX components primarily, the HCX hybrid extension manager. This is that WAN optimization that I was talking about. This is the only solution in the world today. The VMware Cloud on AWS is the only solution in the world today which offers you WAN optimization bundled into the migration tool. And this migration tool is bundled into the solution. So we won't charge you extra for this migration tool. Let me click on migration and let me show you this migration, how easy it is for me to migrate. So once you click on this migrate, you have 2 options. As you can see, the vCenter on cloud, this is my vCenter on cloud, and this is my vCenter on premise. If I want to move anything from on cloud to on-prem or on-prem to on cloud. So both these options are available. Let me click on migrate here just for a second. And this arrow actually is very important. So with this, I'm right now, I'm trying to do a migration from on-premise, as you can see, to on-cloud. I can also do a reverse migration from on-cloud to on-prem. You can see the arrow has changed. But for now, I'll just, for this purpose of this demo, I'll do a migration from on-prem to on-cloud. Let me look up for that machine that I was talking about. There you go. Vikram Migrate test machine that I have. Yeah. And once I click on Migrate, I have a couple of options. Just scroll down. Where do I want to keep my compute store, for on-cloud? So let's say I want to keep my compute store right here. That's a compute zone that I've created. What storage do you want to keep? Because you're not just migrating the compute, you're also migrating this to compute plus storage, both simultaneously. We just click on that and migration profile. Now this is probably the most important thing. I can do vMotion, I can do bulk migration, I can do replication assisted vMotion. So what we have done is vMotion is for basically a couple of VMs that I want to migrate from on-prem to on-cloud. It's the same thing that you've been, we all love and we all adore vMotion. Bulk migration is basically a tool that, or rather the option that we have, wherein we can migrate multiple workloads from on-premise to on-cloud. And while doing that, we can set up rules. So let's say just migrate them, don't power them on, or power off the on-prem, power on the on-cloud, whatever you want to do. So all those fancy things that you want to do, you can do that with this. So purpose of this demo, I'll choose vMotion. I'll choose a destination folder. Where do I want to keep my VMs? Let me scroll down. Yeah, I created a folder called Vikram, and the format that you want to keep. I'll choose thin provisioning for now. This is the most important part. Extension, network options. So I have created this VDS here, on-prem and on-cloud. My on-prem VDS is PG-REX. My on-cloud VDS or virtual distributed switch is I've created one here. Yeah, okay. There you go. This is one I created. And while migrating, you can look at multiple options. So let me show you. What you can create the primary NIC. I can retain the MAC address if I want to. I can retain the MAC address. I can keep the same MAC address that I want to. Like I said earlier also. And I can upgrade the virtual machine if I want to. If I want to while migration, I want to update the virtual machine, I can do that. If I want to upgrade the VM tools, I can do that. I can do per host EMC, EVC also. I can whatever I want to do with this. Let me just click on OK here. Validate. Let me just validate the configuration here before I do the migration. Actually, a real-life migration. It's validating. As you can see, the validation is in progress right now. As you can see from my screen, give it a couple of seconds. If it turns out the validation successful, we can go ahead and we can start migrating the VMs from on-prem to on-cloud without any problems. Right now, it's checking everything from the compute to storage to network to everything else. Whatever is required for validation, for migration.
Okay.
The validation is successful. I'll click on go and remember, gentlemen, I was doing the migration from on-prem to on-cloud. So I'll look into this tab here, right here. And as you can see, the migration, let me just refresh it. Yeah, migration has started. It's right now at 0%. And
refresh karla Survi.
Sorry, is there a question? I request you to please keep yourself on mute if you don't have any questions, please. Thank you. So I'm migrating now. It's while migration, like I said, I'm just using a 50 Mbps link for migration. So that's it. So Vipin, any other questions from the audience? Not looking at the chat panel. If they have PM'd you or any other questions that you have?
I do have, but I want from the audience side also. If
yeah, please. You please feel free to unmute yourself from your, from yourself, or feel free to ask me any question that you want to while I'm doing this migration. Any other questions that you have? Any questions that people must have pinged you? Something, Vipin?
Yeah. So far, I don't think so. Is there any question?
Okay, great. Just a quick time check. How much time do I have? I've overshot my time, so.
So we can extend at least for 15.
Yeah, okay. 32% is already done. As you
Right.
can, it's already done with 32% migration. And
So just quickly, I just want to check, is our data encrypted on vSAN storage while we migrate or while we place our data in the store host in your environment?
excellent question. Thank you for asking. Yes, data on during transit and data at rest both are encrypted. Data is at rest is encrypted by vSAN technology. So what we've done is we have our AWS KMS. We natively integrate with AWS KMS key management system. You can have your own keys if you want. Natively, we're using AWS KMS, and the data which is there at rest on vSAN is encrypted by FIPS 140-2 certified encryption. So basically, encryption, we take care of all the encryption for you. So security point of view. So firewalling, data during transit is also encrypted. Data during migration is also encrypted, and data at rest is also encrypted for you.
Okay, so you cover all three aspects of the data movement.
Yes, yes, we do.
Wonderful.
Sorry. Let me just hit refresh a couple of times. I think it's almost done. I'm sorry, gentlemen, it's taking such a long time. Usually it does not, because we have just a basic DSL link, a 50 Mbps link. Most of us have links on our DSLs, which is stronger than 50 Mbps. And I'm trying to migrate an 8 GB VM, 8 gigabyte VM on that 50 Mbps link on a native DSL. And there you go, voila, the migration is successful. Let me go on to my console here on the cloud. As you can see, I'm on my cloud console. Let me look out for this VM here. Yeah, there you go, Vikram Migrate. This has just been migrated, and let me look at that console. Let me open up the web console for that VM. See, the ping is still going on. While migration, I started up the ping, before migration, and the ping is still going on. And let's see how many packets have we dropped during the migration. There you go, 0 packet drop for the entire migration while I migrated from on-prem to on-cloud. And let's look at the IP address. Remember, I did not choose the same IP address. This is a different IP address. So VM migrated from on-prem to on-cloud with 0 packet drops, and I changed the IP address also. If I wanted, I could have kept the same IP address, but I changed the IP address.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So with 0 packet drop, that's the power of VMware Cloud on AWS, which we have to offer.
And I just skipped. How much was the data which we have migrated? I mean, the size
about 8 GB. About 8 GB.
Wow.
8 GB of data has been migrated on 50 Mbps DSL link. Yeah, with 0 packet drop. So that's towards the end of my presentation. I thank you all for hearing me out, and I'll pass on to our AWS specialist, or rather, Samit Deb, who's from AWS. He's a solution architect. He's a senior solution architect for cloud. Samit, over to you.
Hey, thanks, Vikram and everyone. We are already 6 minutes over the time which we said. How much time do I have realistically? Vipin, I want to keep candidates waiting when they have other commitments. Vikram has covered most of the stuff, so
by 5:15 we can, if you allow us to cover up.
that would be actually too less. So I think we will straight away go to the Q&A.
Okay. Or maybe some key pointers whatever you would like to share, or if you think this has to be shared with all the customers in audience, so I love to have that slide.
Now, what I'm going to say is Vikram did a wonderful job of showcasing what we can do
Mhm.
on VMware Cloud on AWS, and I want to reiterate the fact that this is a jointly engineered solution where we and VMware, AWS and VMware goes together to the market and together tries to, have customers' business transformed to the public cloud while still using the VMware stack, which they are familiar with. Um, I would not go into details, but I would probably spend a minute to look at what is AWS's point of integration. Vikram mentioned it with the VMware Cloud on AWS. So any of our 190 plus services can be integrated with your VMware Cloud on AWS infrastructure. Some of the, when I say all 190, I would not be able to cover, but I am going to have a look at a few of them and how they can be integrated. Probably I'll just leave you with the opening statement on that service integration, and then we can dive deep into it later when we have time.
Mhm.
So as a hybrid connectivity, your data centers, which would have VMware workloads running on them, can be connected to the AWS region, where we can spin up a software defined data center, SDDC, which VMware would provision for you as a managed service. And then you can use AWS Direct Connect to have a true hybrid experience between your on-premise VMware workload and your VMware workload on the cloud. Having said that part of connectivity, you can use AWS file sharing, managed file share services like FSX or ESX to mount file shares to your machines which are running on the VMware cloud on AWS. You can also integrate your S3 buckets to your VMC workloads, which run on VMware cloud environment. And you can also have S3 presented as a file share. So as you know, S3 is an object storage. Normally cannot be presented as a file share, but
Correct.
and that's the beauty of a jointly engineered solution, we can have a file gateway service and mount the S3 object storage as a file share for your VMs running inside your software defined data center environment.
So
You can
just
also
wanted to
have,
check, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. So how VMC will help us or support for a business continued perspective in your platform, especially on the current scenario where we work on a remote workforce prospect. So I just want to understand that factor also.
yeah, I would probably throw up some light, but as I was saying that your elastic load balancer from Amazon can be used, and you can also run a few analytics workloads on VMware Cloud on AWS. So you have analytics workload, you have some machines running on VMware Cloud on AWS, and you can use the analytics platform on AWS to accentuate or modernize your applications which has been running on VMware. And to your question, Vipin, um, there's a three-pronged approach to this. One would be a reactive disaster recovery, where we can provision uh, SDDC cluster to host the workloads which were running on premise once there is a DR situation within a couple of hours. So if there's a DR now, in the next couple of hours, you can have an infrastructure ready on VMware Cloud on AWS and put your machines and run there. You can also have a proactive disaster avoidance by setting up an active setup partly on premise and partly on VMware Cloud on AWS, and use Site Recovery Manager to orchestrate the DR response on these platforms together. And last one, I would say, and I'm going to put a slide for that. This is horizon view on VMC. I would probably make it a little big so that you can see it. So in this solution, so VMware, I think some of you would know that VMware has a Horizon suite of products, which is basically virtual desktop infrastructure implementation on VMware ESX environment. Now that same environment can be run on VMware Cloud on AWS. So you can have your VMware platform running on AWS and then run your desktops on the VMware Cloud platform, which is again running on AWS. What that means is you can now have on-demand capacity and on-demand user provisioning a user desktop provisioning on the cloud without having to go through the long procurement cycle of buying desktops and provisioning desktops for creating, buying servers and creating servers and then creating desktops on top of them. This can be a burst AWS SDDC, which runs VMware, can be a burst capacity, which can be used for workers or employees who are who needs to work from home or probably work as a contingency worker and needs access to their desktop environment. Hope that answers, Vipin.
Yes, 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 indeed. So I have my colleague. He's my pre-sales lead, Mr. Shobit. He have few queries. Shobit, um,
Hello.
Yes, Shobit. The query is for me or Vikram or any one of us can answer.
any one of you can answer it if it is depending on your.
Okay.
So, in recent past, we people have gone through with a couple of requirements with customers, wherein either customer is on AWS, that is native AWS, and is it any possibility that if we can ask customer to move from native AWS to VMC? That is one. Other is how much lower say minimum instances we can go with VMC. What I know is like on VMC, all flash servers are available and minimum 3 servers are to be taken. But customers which are in upcountry, which are having very low budget or say some budget constraint, how we can ask those customers to go for VMC?
So I will answer the first one and then Vikram, if you can take up the second one. So we do what is right for the customer. If he is using native services and he has some pain points which can be solved by moving to VMware Cloud on AWS, by all means we would support them. And the pain point might not be only costs. The pain point might be ease of operations. The pain point might be something they want to do on VMware, which is better than how he does it on AWS. We are by all means would support them in the migration journey. So it is not that only VMware on-premise workloads will move. Our approach, at least in AWS and VMware joint offering, has been that we will analyze the workloads and find out its best fitment, whether it's on-premise or on the cloud, whether it's on VMware or on the native services. And based on the fitment, we just go ahead and recommend the customer the right course of action.
Okay.
Vikram, do you want
I'm
to
sorry,
take up?
what was the question? The second part of your question?
So two notes is the sorry, yeah, Shobit, go ahead.
Yeah.
The same thing which you.
So like if we can go with some hybrid storage or something, because it is very, I mean, it is not very much necessary that customer need to have all flash drives or any NVMe drives. So can we go with the hybrid storage as well, just to reduce cost?
So by default, VMware comes with all NVMe flash drives. But just a while back, Samit also said that we can integrate with FSX services or elastic block storage. Depending on what you need, we can do that. And minimum is 2 hosts in a VMC cluster, because we like to maintain the 99.9% uptime. Right? If you read about RAID, what we do is we keep the witness node on another EC2 instance, that is invisible to you on a 2-node cluster. But again, we provide you 99.9% uptime on 2 hosts also, minimum of 2 hosts also.
Mm-hmm.
So all NVMe is the answer. Answer to your question is all NVMe.
So whenever we speak with customers, if they are having on-prem deployment and we convince them to go over cloud or to virtualize their environment, they always ask about minimum pricing, like how much would be a tentative or minimum pricing, so that they people can take some sort of budgetary approval, and then they can further speak with their management or they can start speaking with us. So
See, we
Yeah.
create a TCO sheet, during our discussions with our customers. We create a TCO sheets or TCO for the entire migration, or rather the entire solution,
Right.
jointly with the AWS. So Samit and I usually do it on, for our north and east based customers.
Mm-hmm.
So, so basically, if you look at the higher the VM density, the cheaper the solution is. Believe me when I say this. The higher the density, VM density, the cheaper this overall solution will be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But then you can always connect to us, on a case-to-case basis. If you have any such customers, I'm more than willing to work with you alongside SASL, to create the entire ROI in a TCO sheet.
Yeah. So like we would surely initiate this because this is the core challenge which we people are facing on day-to-day basis. Like because of budget or any of the constraint, customer is not willing to adopt or to refresh their existing environment, and for them AWS or Azure is a costly solution, so they still want to be remain on-prem, or they don't want to adopt any such solution. So this is the challenge which is stopping us to do further business.
Yeah, I
I'm
understand.
talking
Yeah.
about post March, what we are facing.
No, I understand and I appreciate you being upfront and honest about it. We can work on case-to-case basis. I'll be more than happy to work with you on case-to-case basis to basically come up with the solutions for our customers, the most cost-optimal solutions for our customers.
Sure, Vikram. So certainly we'll keep poking you on time-to-time basis related to our queries, and definitely would seek your support to have and acquire the customers on VMC AWS platform.
Thank you.
I think we cover up and we crossed the time limit. So I just would like to ask the audience if you have any other questions, any query you want to address it here.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.